Wow, right when I did it, the quality like kind of pooped. And after getting back from the trip with the kids, I'm sure you probably felt like you needed about a week's worth of rest.
Yeah, and I pretty much did. I was resting for like 3 days, but then just went straight back into it a little too quickly. So we're just taking it slow now.
Yeah, I saw you guys went to that cool indoor skate park, the Danish barracks.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Oh, that was in like the opposite end of the country. So I'm on Zealand, and then
Okay.
you gotta drive across like Zealand, drive across Fyn. I don't know what that's called, and then you get to the mainland, Jutland, and right before it connects to Germany, that's where it is. We skated the park, which we had rented for a couple of hours just for us, and then they opened up, and it was just like one local dude there, and he actually knew me, so that was pretty nice.
That sounds really fun. Was that part of the trip with the kids or was that separate?
No, that was part of the trip. I really wanted to film on every single day, but it was just too much work with all the kids.
Oh yeah, for sure. And how old are those kids?
Between 13 and 17, 18-ish.
Cool. Okay, so they're not that much younger than you. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 28.
28. Cool. I just turned 30 in December, so it's a weird one. I don't know. 30, I like built it up in my head as all right, by 30, you got to have this, you got to have a house, a career, you got to be able to like nollie laser flip consistently by now. You've been doing it for years. You got to have it consistent, but really I find that it's kind of stupid to set those like must do's for yourself. Do you ever find yourself doing that? Like, hey, by this time next year, I want this or that.
Well, absolutely. I think I missed the entire summer of, was that 21? No, that was probably 22 actually, where I just couldn't. No, that was 21. I couldn't skate all summer. I got injured like right before it, and I was like, when I can skate again, I'm just gonna get everything back. I'm gonna get better, but it's just not as fun anymore. I'm just trying to, yeah, do whatever feels good in the moment and just have fun with whatever park you're at.
For sure. That's kind of the realization I've come to as well. Like with skating, we like I don't know the first 4 or 5 years of skating for most of us, it's literally just going anywhere and doing anything random. Most of the time, you don't have a goal in mind. It's just skating for the sake of skating. And I'm kind of in my 30s now, trying to relocate where that feeling went, where it was just skating for the sake of skating. And I think I'm finally getting there. I still find myself setting goals, and obviously it feels good to accomplish those goals, but I don't know. I try not to put too much stress on it. I feel like we try to make skateboarding adult in a way. We're like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to get this and this out of it. I need to make sure it's worth it, that I'm progressing. But really, that doesn't matter. Like, I'll break skateboards, buy new ones, buy all these different skate shoes, and it doesn't matter. It's just what we do. Do you spend a lot of money on skate shoes? Do you burn through them?
No, I don't. I feel like I buy pretty bulky Fallen shoes, and Fallen has always lasted me like a really long time. And I used to, when I was younger, just like go all in with shoe goo, and I would paint over the shoe goo, and I burn my laces with a little lighter every time I go out skating, just to kind of melt them together again. So my shoes actually last for a very long time.
That's really smart about burning the laces. I never thought of that. Growing up, we used to use like super glue. We'd super glue the laces near the toe where it
Yeah.
and it kind of worked. And even before that, growing up, I don't know if do you guys have like duct tape?
I
Yeah,
I used to do that, yeah.
yeah, we used to like duct tape around the toe of our shoes. It would get all in the grip tape, just completely ruin your grip tape. There's no way to really get the like adhesive out of the grip tape, but we would do anything. We used to skate in audios. Do you remember audio back in the day?
Yeah, I do. I've only skated one pair though.
I don't think they were very good. I used to only skate audio and Circa back when Circas were like big chunky shoes. I loved those. Those were so awesome. Are you skating the Trooper right now?
No, I am skating the Fiend. Is that how you pronounce it?
Fiend, like Fiend.
Yeah,
Yeah, Fiend.
Elliot Sloan's Pro model, and it's the first one. I actually also bought the second one. I think I'm gonna skate that next, but it's like a vert shoe, so there's a bit more protection on the tongue, I guess, for like knee sliding. But I feel like it
Oh,
gives pretty good protection, and it's kind of bulky. Goes up, not really a high top, but it's just up to around the ankle bone there, which I kind of need now.
yeah, for sure. Do you find like when you do heel flip tricks, like inward heel, varial heel, nollie inward, do you ever like kind of scratch or cut your ankles doing those tricks?
Definitely with the nollie inward heel. I think that's why I've never really focused on getting that one down consistently.
Hmm.
But most of the time, actually, no. I kind of rip my shoe up a little bit, like before the top of that, the part of the shoe. But yeah, I normally skate with these footprint socks where they actually have like the footprint insoles, like tiny little circles around the ankle bones, and then also on the shin. So,
Whoa, I didn't know that was a thing. That's cool.
yeah, that's I need that because my ankle bones like they are so messed up after just being hit with the side of the trucks or like the board from all these years. So I have all these like little spots that just won't heal anymore.
Yes, and rolling your ankle too. You've rolled your ankle multiple times, right?
Yeah, probably 25 times on each foot, I would guess.
Jeez. So you get both of them.
Yeah. And it's gotten so bad that now all of a sudden I have a rolled ankle without having rolled an ankle. That was my problem when I couldn't skate all summer. It was just I was skating one day. Oh, feels a bit weird. I was playing a game of skate against a policeman who came to the skate park where I used to
What?
skate with. Yeah. And he was just like, well, do a double flip like old times before I was a cop. And I tried it, landed primo because it was on my friend's board, a very small palace board that just flips so fast.
Oh
And
yeah.
I landed kind of weird primo. And then, yeah, okay. I kind of skated through the day, but the next day and the next 4 or 5 months, I just had a rolled ankle without really rolling it.
That is crazy. Did you film that game of skate?
No, I didn't, but our skate park, the one I work at, they have some highlighted stories of him skating there. So yeah, he might have a viral heel or something on our story highlights.
That's pretty cool. Is he pretty good?
He used to be really good, but now he only skates like whenever he comes by the skate park every, I don't know, half a year, and he's skating in like police boots and all
Jeez.
his gear is hanging on the sides and stuff. So it's not like back in the day when he was actually wearing like skate shoes and stuff.
Recently, you're kind of stepping more into like, your OG skate content again a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but I'm not really focusing that much on it. It's kind
Yeah.
of a hobby thing, I would say.
Yeah.
Whereas the gaming stuff, I feel like that's also fun for me, but that's what brings in the YouTube money on my part. So I
Sure.
kind of feel like mentally I got to keep that up. And then when you upload, real life skateboarding, it can go anywhere from like 200 views to, several thousand views. So I'm not really putting all my money in that bag yet. It's just too inconsistent. I feel like I don't really know what the real life YouTube skating watchers want to see, if you can say that.
I don't think any of us really do. Like most of the stuff that goes viral, so to speak, on like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, most of it's not even like good tricks. It's just a guy doing a kickflip and there's some horrible rap song playing in the background and the beat drops when he lands his kickflip all crappy. That's all kids want, and I seriously cannot relate to that. I don't get it. Like growing up, the kind of videos we'd watch on YouTube and stuff, it was Jeff Deschesare doing a nollie quadruple kickflip down a loading dock like that. That is what I remember, and that's kind of what shaped me growing up. Was like, okay, I want to learn to do crazy Jeff One song tricks, and nowadays it's okay. I want to try this Johnny Geiger anti-hospital cancel flip to manual, whatever. Just like the craziest stuff, and I feel like I'm watching those things. it motivates me, but it's also kind of like, okay, I don't know if I'll ever actually be at that level, but at the same time, it's just way more interesting to me than these short little edits. I feel like with people's attention spans getting shorter and shorter, all they can watch is a 3-second clip. So that's primarily what I post on like YouTube Shorts. I don't know if you've noticed, but like Shorts do way better, at least for us, like really small channels. I'm only at like 900 something subs, and I can make a full 10-minute video, put like a week's worth of footage and work into it, and it'll yield like maybe 50 views in a month or something, which is kind of awful, but at the same time it's more about just the fun of it and documenting for myself and for my friends. Do you kind of miss that aspect of YouTube back in the day, where you would be like, some of your first videos you ever did back in 2007 2008, it would be like montages of pro skaters? Do you ever miss doing that?
Yeah, I do, and I do want to incorporate that in some way, like in a modern fashion now, because as you say, and I will, as an old man, have to agree with you that, you know, the times have changed a bit here. There's a certain type of content you make on TikTok. If you want to get views there, you got to go a different route on YouTube. Instagram is a whole nother thing, so there's just a lot to keep up with. But I did love making those montages, and it was also a lot to motivate myself because I added slow motion to everything. So I could see how Chris Haslam is switch laser flipping down the 4 block, or Chris Cole has his feet set up for the backside 360 kickflip, and stuff like that. So it was mostly to learn back then. And since I'm not really in that constant learning drive that, you know, I used to be when I was younger, I don't do it as much, but I do want to find that state again somehow.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And you kind of dabbled in that a little bit with your recreate video parts. I think you did it in Skate 3. You've done it maybe a little bit in Session Skater XL, kind of recreating tricks and video parts. Do you think that kind of touches on that same feeling for you?
I actually don't know. I think it gets me hyped on the gaming part more, especially if it's in Skater XL, and you can actually like, okay, how has he set his feet up? Can I match that with some kind of mod and
Yeah.
wear the same clothes and get the same angle at a recreated spot? Then it's more like, how close can I get a video game to look like real life?
Mhm.
But still, you are kind of right. Like we were still focusing on the real thing here, and
Yeah.
then the gaming comes second, right?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how far like skateboarding video games have come. I know you've probably talked about this to death, but it's insane where we went from like growing up Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that playing that on Nintendo, that was the first thing that got me into skateboarding back in like, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there is when I started getting into skateboarding. I wouldn't really say I started skating then, because it was just my neighbors had a garage sale. I don't know if you guys have an equivalent of that, where people kind of set stuff out on their lawn and you just come by and you say, hey, I'll give you $5 for that lamp or something. And they go, yeah, sure. And you take it. Well, my neighbors had done a garage sale and they had a old Bart Simpson skateboard. It was like a spoon nose, so it had a square tail and then the rounded nose, kind of like old school type shape. And that was my very first skateboard, which is weird because at that point in time, there were legit like a tail and a nose skateboards, but I had no clue. My only skateboarding knowledge was from Tony Hawk. How did you kind of start skating? I assume you started skating well before you started the YouTube stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been skating since I was very close to 12. I think I was still 11, so I don't even know how many years that is at this point, like 16 years.
Yeah.
But I started the same way as you with Tony Hawk games. I was at a birthday party for one of my classmates, and I think I found out that we were playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 because it was very convenient. You had a 2-minute run, and then you would pass the controller along.
Oh yeah.
But he didn't actually know what game it was, so I was begging him to figure out in school, and he just said Tony Hawk, and went with my dad the next day, got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. So I first played the 3 one, but then Pro Skater 4 was my first one, and I figured out that like Rune Cliffberg was in the game. I have talked about this before in interviews, but I think it's funny because he was one of my big inspirations, being like a Danish pro skater and the only one I knew of. And he was in a Tony Hawk game yelling in Danish when he fell sometimes. So he
I
was
never
like,
caught that. That is so funny.
no, he does yell. if he falls and slips back, I think he yells "ouch my butt" in Danish. So so I would just be skating as him constantly and falling on purpose just to like hear that, oh, there's Danish in a Tony Hawk game.
That is so cool. And it's like, it's such a niche language too. Like it's only spoken in Denmark, correct?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, some of the countries under Denmark, like the Faroe Islands and Greenland, but they also have their own languages, I'm pretty sure of.
That is fascinating. Yeah, we had spoke recently. I told you that I spent some time in Taiwan, and it's interesting too because they also have their own language, Taiwanese, which is an offshoot of Chinese, where they have a lot of similar words, but they have their own pronunciation. So, like Chinese has 4 tones, and a tone is basically like in English when we're asking a question, we kind of like raise our pitch at the end. We're like, what are you doing? We have like different ways that we emphasize the words, and in Chinese they have the 4 tones. So it's like they have a down tone, an up tone, a flat tone, and then no tone. So it's like hi, 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 and it sounds ridiculous. It's so weird. And then Taiwanese takes it one step further, and they now have, what is it, 16 tones? So I felt like I was at a huge disadvantage. So the only Taiwanese I picked up out there was like learning to order tea. I drank so much tea in Taiwan. I'm normally a coffee guy, but it was so much easier to get tea out there. So I literally learned Taiwanese just to order drinks and food. For me, it's a respect thing. Like, I'm a foreigner to their country. I wanted to learn their language, mainly just as a sign of respect, because I still love Taiwan. I think it's amazing, and I'm kind of worried about the things that we talked about, how China has plans to invade and retake it over. Kind of a downer to talk about, but yeah, maybe we'll save that for another interview. But yeah, it's just so interesting. So you speak English very well. You obviously speak Danish. Are there any other languages? I know you said you studied a little French in school.
Yeah, I've had French for 6 years,
Oh,
but
6 years.
yeah, but the 3 first years, that's like part of the last years of primary school here. I know the school system is a bit different, but the primary school in Denmark is like from grade 0 to 9. So in
Oh, okay.
seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, I had French, but it was a really, really bad teacher, and our school was very underfunded in that area. So I don't know
Mm.
how I did it, but I think in my exam I got the second highest like graduation. But then when I came to the next part of the school system, the STX, let's just call it that because that's what it is. But that's 3 grades. So when I had French on the highest level there, I was so behind everybody. Like I don't know, like what kind of French classes they've had. So I really fell behind in those 3 years, and then I kind of lost it after that because it just couldn't keep up.
You finished your ninth grade French class and you were at the top of your class, but then you get to like, we would call your STX. So that would be 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. We call that high school over here. And then
Okay.
below that, we have like elementary school. We have from kindergarten, so 0 to 6. And then from 6 to 9, we have junior high, but then some states have middle school, which is it's so confusing, dude. Like that's why our school system's so screwed up, I swear. It's so confusing. But yeah, that's weird. So it's almost like the other kids, even if they were at the same level as you, then going into high school, they were just that much above you. Did that kind of like discourage you a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. That I mean I really wanted to learn French fluently, but I think the problem was in primary school, my best friend, he was so good at it, so he got pretty fluent in French very quickly. And then it was me maybe in second place, and then the rest of the class were just so bad, and our teacher couldn't like keep up with all of us. So I think that's where we kind of got dragged down, and I was kind of
Yeah.
stuck in the middle. So, but I really wanted to learn a third language. Maybe I'll pick it up again one day.
I know. I think German is pretty fun. I was looking at some like, because I know Danish and German have quite a few things that are similar, oddly enough. Like I know, what is it? Good morning in Danish, it's humor, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, godmorgen.
Yeah, Guten Morgen. And in German, it's Guten Morgen, but it's spelled almost the same way as in Danish. Just the pronunciation is different. And like good night is Guten Abend. And in Danish, what is it? It's,
God aften.
yeah, it's close. So I think, I don't know, I think you should try German. I think you would
Yeah,
like German.
I regret not choosing German. I only chose because my best friend he wanted to do French, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's so funny. I think that was my deal too. I took Spanish with some friends of mine, and we didn't do very good, honestly. We did kind of bad, but we'd study together before and after class just so we could know for sure that we'd pass whatever test. Because even as like kids, all we cared about was skating, but we knew deep down like, okay, school's a little important. Was there ever a point in your life during school where you started to care more about skating than school?
As soon as I started skating, I think.
Yeah.
So I can't remember how what grade you're in as like an 11, 12 year old, but I would
Like
come home
sixth
from
grade.
sixth grade. Okay,
Yeah.
so I would be coming home from school, and for like the first 2, 3 years, I would just be skating in like my driveway. We had like two parking spots. We had one car, so I could skate in the other one, but it was really
Yeah.
not a lot of flat ground. And the asphalt in Denmark was terrible at that point, so it was pretty much the only place I skated like 3 meters back and forth. That was
Yeah.
about it. But I was like straight home from school, just skating until I couldn't skate anymore. And then 3 or 4 times a week, I had karate practice. So I'd have to
Okay.
go to that, maybe come home and skate some more. And I would never do homework. I don't think I did homework from like fifth grade until like I was done with school
You still
entirely.
graduated though, right?
Yeah, yeah, I graduated fine. I think they were so busy with the other students at my terrible school that they didn't even like. Yeah, it's fine.
That's so funny. Was it like a pretty, did you grow up in a pretty small town, small school?
Yeah, we're like my hometown is like if you count all the cities close to Copenhagen, you could say all of them are like a part of it. So my hometown would be like on the very end of that, like the very north of Copenhagen in Farum, but kind of a small town. I think like 30,000 people maybe.
Wow,
I don't
okay.
know. I don't know if that's small for you guys.
No, that's like that is small here. So my town that I'm in right now, we're pretty not too far from Canada, and a lot of the people that live here have like generations past moved down from Canada and Europe and stuff. You know, like America's they call it a melting pot, so we have people from all over. But oddly enough, I don't think I've ever met someone from Denmark, never met anyone from like Sweden, maybe met a couple people from Germany, but it's weird, we're a melting pot. But I think some of the places that also have freedoms like America, like places like Denmark, Germany, so to speak, we don't really get people coming from good places here. They're already good, but we do get people coming from places like Taiwan, a lot of people from China. We have quite a few Russians, oddly enough, and I'm in a small town. We're in a town of like 35,000. So having people here from Russia and a lot of Middle Eastern places, it's really interesting, kind of cool to see, because when people think of America, people from other places, they think of places like LA, New York, Chicago, Seattle, places like that where there are people from all over. So growing up in a small town, I think my view was kind of skewed towards other countries. I had no real knowledge of other countries until I grew up, and that's kind of when I started wanting to travel and see these other places. When you grew up, did your family ever take vacations to other countries or anything?
Yeah, but we would go to Sweden up in like the deep forest in like winter times, or we would go to, yeah, where have I been with my family? We've been to Spain or
Wow.
like Tenerife, all the way
Oh,
down next to Africa.
yeah.
I've been to Bulgaria with my dad last summer.
Wow.
Oh yeah, Bulgaria is like it's pretty close to Ukraine actually. I think they might not border up. Oh man, I'm so bad at geography.
It's hard. There's so many like little countries in Europe. It's really hard to keep up.
Yeah, but we should know it because we get like so much education in Denmark about geography, but I've just thrown everything out, I think.
We're really lucky here in the States that we have two big neighbors, Canada and Mexico, and it's really easy to keep track. And like growing up, my grandparents on my father's side, they're from Canada. So when they like migrated to America, they kept their accents, and my dad still has it a little bit too. And it's really funny. I don't call him out on it anymore because I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's cool to carry that on a little bit. But I've noticed as I've gotten older, it starts to come out. So I try to keep it in check because I'm not looking to draw any unneeded attention based on how I talk. But as far as your traveling, what's been your favorite places that you've traveled for skating?
Oh man, I mean, I gotta say Barcelona in Spain.
Yeah. When was
Kind of,
that?
I've been there so many times. I've been there
Really?
like six, 7 or 8 times. I can't
Oh,
really keep track anymore. It was actually the first skate trip I ever went on. Me and my good buddy from my hometown, we got another friend who was, I think, a year or two younger, and he really wanted to come with us on a skate trip. So his parents actually went with us. So we would just be skating in Barcelona during the day, and then we'd meet up with his parents at night. But that was like my first big skate trip. That was going to Barcelona. It was me, my very good friend, and our newer friend, and then our newer friend's parents because he was a bit younger. But it was a really, really good experience. Stayed at a great hotel. Just experiencing the Barcelona spots for the first time was a trip because we didn't have GPS on our phones back then. I had like printed out seven maps we would go from, and my friend, he
nice.
flipped the map upside down, so we were walking in the wrong direction, but we kept seeing famous spot, famous spot, famous spot, famous spot. Wait a minute, these aren't the line of famous spots we were supposed to see. So we ended up just throwing the map away, I think, and just skating around and just finding so many spots that I haven't been to Barcelona in a while to skate because most of the spots I really like, they're either changed or they're really, really crusty now.
Hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Growing up too, that was always like a dream place was going to Barcelona. And I have so many friends that have been there. And me, I've traveled quite a bit in Asia and some in Mexico, Canada, but never been to Barcelona. That's pretty high on my list. I really want to check it out. Not that I think
You,
I could really do much justice at those spots, but I don't know, just to go there would be so cool.
yeah, it's just the vibe because I think like when I was done with high school, I worked for a year at a factory, and then it was kind of like go back to school, but I didn't really want to do that, so I ended up just having a year off where the first month I went to Paris to skate, and then the second month I went back to Barcelona, just me, myself, and really tried to experience the city. And it is kind of a gnarly city. You gotta know what areas not to go in and stuff like that. But
I've
but just
heard.
being there, yeah, that's amazing.
We just had a pretty rough winter here in Idaho. We had a couple months of snow. I think we didn't get really heavy snowfall, but still, when it snows around here, it's nearly impossible to get anywhere. There's no skating, like, period. It sucks. I'm really lucky now, the place where I live. Right now, I'm kind of out on our little porch, but we have a carport, like a kind of like a garage, but there's not a front door, so to speak. So I'm able to skate in there when it snowed and rained. But even then, I'd get like the neighbors complaining, threatening to call the cops and stuff. It gets so
Oh,
annoying.
yeah, I've been there.
You guys get snow too, right?
Well, for the last 3 years, we've only gotten like 4 days of snow, I think, and it's not much. But I really like snow skating. I have like an old ambition snow skate that I
Whoa.
I really just want to. I remember getting good at it in like the last good winter we had in Denmark. I learned nollie heels and disco flips and stuff, but
That's sick.
you lose that after like a whole season without snow, and it's just not possible to get back into it. I think I had a tiny. I think I had 2 or 3 days of snow skating last winter, but either way, it's just raining all the time in winter in Denmark now.
It's really interesting, like snow sports as compared to skateboarding. Like I grew up skiing. I started skiing before skateboarding. I think I started skiing at like 7 years old. So if I would have done it consistently, it'd be well over 20 years of skiing. But it's weird how me and other people that do these snow sports are able to progress only doing them maybe 3, 4 months out of the year. And then for 8, 9 months you're not doing it, maybe not even thinking about it, but you get back on it and you're able to progress. I've never really understood that. And just like friends growing up, I know you had people that you grew up with skating, and some of them would stop, and I'm sure they'll come back out and skate maybe once every year or something, and they still have their tricks. I don't get that. Like, there are some tricks that I think I'll always have, like tray flips and nollie heels. I don't think I'll ever lose. I don't think you will either. You have trays and nollie heels really good as well. I'm not one to like take time off from skateboarding. I can't. It would drive me crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely a bag of tricks that I don't think you'll ever lose. Something that just clicks with you. Doesn't really matter how you stand or, like nollie heels. I
Yeah.
think I don't even think about my flipping foot where it's at anymore. It just kind of
Yeah.
works every time. But then there's other stuff that's like, oh, it's been. It's been a couple months since I did a frontside flip. Can I still do that? Then you gotta work back into it because it's just
Yeah.
not clicking the same way.
I saw your nollie inward heel at the park the other day. That was sick. That turned out really good.
Thank you. That was I was battling that one and the nollie 360 heel for so long, and I actually had given up on it. I said the last trick of the video would be just the flat ground tray double, but I
Yeah.
ended up saying afterwards, just film me one more time. I really want to land it, and then it thankfully worked out.
That's so sick. It's cool how like different nollie tricks and other things we can have like the same foot setup. Like I'm pretty sure when I do nollie varial heel, nollie big heel, and nollie inward heel, my foot setup is the exact same. Have you found that too?
Well, now that I think of it, I think my straight nollie heels are higher up, closer to the tail. And
Mm.
then my nollie inward heels, I angle my foot a bit more. And the nollie varial heels, I kind of just have it in one spot and then I pop and kick down and it kind of does a nollie varial heel. The same thing for nollie laces. I feel like you really just gotta like scoop it really well and then, get a tiny bit of flick. Then you got a nollie lacer.
When you do the nollie inward, do you point so your feet are like this kind of, do you point your back foot in or out?
Oh man, let me just see if I have a board here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think of.
So I don't know if it's blurry or not.
A little, there it is.
I got my front foot right around here for some reason,
Mhm.
and then the back foot. I think I angle it kind of like this,
Okay.
so
That
it
makes
just
sense.
easily goes that way. I used to have it more like that, and when I first learned it, I had it just like covering the bolts. I don't know how I did that. Just for a tip with the nollie inward heel, the way I flick, like on a nollie heel flip, I flick more, back. I flick it out. I kind of scratch the tail on the pop, but on a
Yeah.
nollie inward, I like kick my foot forward.
Yeah, okay.
So if it popsicles, I'm actually more kind of straight in the air, like facing forward, and then I
Yeah.
kind of bring it back. So I feel like you kind of avoid it in that way, but it is a weird trick. It really is.
It is. I have a lot of respect when I see someone that can do them consistently or just any way at all. That's a really hard trick. I think it's harder on flat ground than on an obstacle. Would you agree?
Yeah, on the hip, that is definitely where I've done the most nollie inward heels because I always seem to under rotate a little bit. I think here a little while ago I actually learned the nollie inward heel back 180, like back 180
Oh,
revert.
yeah.
Uh, it worked way easier for me because my nollie inward heels always seem to under rotate a little bit and just like landing a little backside revert made a lot of sense to me.
That's cool. I've tried that trick. I've tried nollie inward heel, like backside revert, kind of like a nollie inward heel ghetto bird kind of thing. My first time trying that on a hip, I did a straight nollie heel and then ended up doing a backside body varial. So like the opposite of a nollie disco flip, pretty much. So it was like a nollie heel opposite body varial. I ended up doing that and it felt really cool, but it looked crazy. I landed like completely facing backwards, but I was bolts. It was so weird, but yeah, I've always wanted to do that trick. I think it's almost easier fake. I skate a lot of banks because I think tricks are just easier on banks. I have a buddy, Corey, who can do a fakie inward heel. What would it be? Like a backside 180, but he does it all in the air. It's so sick. I'll have to send you a clip of it. It's so cool. I filmed him doing one like probably 12 years ago, so the quality might look awful, but really cool trick. That's where I get inspiration, is like the weird tricks. I really could care less for these giant rails and stuff. I just really can't get behind it because I can't relate to it. I think so much of skateboarding is how we can relate to it. And that's one thing that I always liked about watching your videos, is like when you were doing the montages of the pros and slowing down the tricks so that the rest of us could see what they're actually doing. I really related to that, and that's what got me to subscribe to your channel and your other channels. And it's fascinating. It's something that I think most of the world can't relate to. Like, skateboarding is so niche, it's so specific, nothing relates to it. So we're such a tight-knit community, and I really appreciate all the people out there that are making content, even if it's now like the video game skateboarding, because it's getting so close to reality that it still gives you that feeling of having gone skating with your friends. Going back to what you said, so after high school you worked in a factory for a little bit. How long were you there?
A full year, I think.
And so what was kind of going through your head at the time when you were working at the factory? Because it seems like that wasn't really, you weren't really vibing with it. You didn't really enjoy that. What was going through your head?
I mean, I had a student job there while in high school, like once a week, a couple hours. But yeah, I thought I would just save up some money and kind of figure out what education I was gonna do next. But when that year came and my contract was up and I'd saved up a lot of money, I didn't really just want to go back to studying again. So that's why I took that year off. It was also very physically demanding, even though like I think the last 2 weeks before I stopped, we came up with a new technique for making some of the products that I would have really liked to have the year I worked there, because I'm still struggling with my shoulder a bit. If I sleep just a tiny bit wrong on it, it kind of messes me up. So,
So what kind of factory was it? What did you guys make?
well, contractually, I'm not allowed to say that much,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's something to do with brain recovery.
Oh, so you worked for Elon Musk. You were making the Neuralink so that we can turn everyone into
Pretty much, actually, and a lot of people call me Elon Musk, so that is very, very suiting. I don't know what traits in my face kind of reminds me of him, but I see it sometimes too.
I can see it from like your nose up. I do see a little Elon Musk, but it's not a bad thing. I mean, he's not an ugly guy, so it's a compliment, I think.
I hope so. I love to kid around saying he's my dad, so I'm really just like a spoiled rich kid here making YouTube for fun. But in reality, I'm just living in a small apartment.
So so your contract comes up after being there for a year, you're kind of over it. You weren't looking to go back to school or anything. So what did you do immediately after the contract ended? You had saved up some money. What'd you do?
I think the weather was pretty good in Denmark. It was like right in the summertime. So I was just skating a bit in Denmark, and as I could see on the forecast that like it started to get worse, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something. So I spent a good chunk of money going to Paris first, and
Wow.
just yeah, stayed in a kind of crappy part. There weren't that many spots around or skate parks. I really had to skate a long way every day just to hit a spot or a park. But that was also fun, just being in Paris, seeing that, and it really changed up my view on Paris as a city. I haven't
Yeah.
really been back since. I was there for I think 28 days, 29
Wow.
days. And then I went home for like 3 or 4 days. I just managed barely to get a board from my sponsor, and then it was back on the road hitting Barcelona for also I think 28 days.
When you were done with those trips, was most of your money gone, or did you still have a good bit left?
No, most of it, not most of it. I still had a good chunk left, but I really wanted to go to Australia and skate Melbourne and Sydney. But my budget wasn't really there for that, so I was just skating a bunch in Denmark, taking the trip down to my friend who had moved to the city I'm currently in, and he had a job at the skate park, so I'd be skating the park there. as far as I recall. And then I think I went back to Barcelona for 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. But otherwise, I was just skating at home, making YouTube at that point.
That's cool. So after the factory job, that's kind of when you, after your trips, that's when you started kind of focusing on YouTube as a possible career somewhat.
I don't think so. I thought for a while, in the beginning you couldn't even make money on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then I got the only way you could earn money was to partner up with one of these, what's it called, multi-channel networks.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was making a little bit of money on that, but I mean, on my regular videos, hitting maybe somewhere between 200 and 1,000 views, I was making like cents on that. So it was like the few viral videos I had, I made a little bit of money from, but in the end, I didn't know if I could make a living out of it because I thought you had to talk to the camera. I was a huge Andy Schrock fan, and to me, he kind of invented like skate vlogging, or at least
Yeah.
he would go out and skate, film with his friends, maybe not vlog that much, but then after the video, he would kind of just sit in his basement talking about the session and say some fun stuff. So I wanted to do that, but I don't think I dare to talk English to the camera yet. And if you watch some of my early videos talking English, you can see I'm so focused on like saying the right things and so nervous, not really talking naturally. So I never really I never really felt comfortable in that part, but I guess I kind of tried a little later. It grew a little bit once I did my first Skate 3 video, but then it was like a lot of people came in for the video gaming and not so much for the real life stuff. And that's when I kind of started to convert into making it a gaming channel.
Yeah. That's awesome. And was it kind of hard for you to transition into being mainly gaming?
Not really, actually. I had always wanted to make like a Skate 3 video. I just didn't know how to do it. And then I think I was actually back to studying at this point, studying multimedia design, and I was just taking care of my friend's apartment in Copenhagen, and I figured out you could stream your Xbox One gameplay to your laptop. So I did that and recorded it in really crappy quality, but made my first Skate 3 video, and it did really well, I think. My average view was like 400 views at that point, and then that one got like 12,000 views in a day or two.
Wow.
And then I just had a blast doing that, and it was way less work than the real life stuff. So I would just be out, maybe focusing on one trick instead of, okay, I gotta film all my warm up, I gotta show the spot, I gotta do all this. So I could focus a bit more on skating for fun, and then actually kind of grow with the gaming videos.
That's so cool. I love that. And it's funny, like nowadays, maybe like the past few years as well, a lot of kids, if you ask them what they want to be, at least in America, a lot of them are like, I want to make YouTube videos. And a lot of it is kind of around gaming. So coming from, I'll say our generation, we're close to the same age. That wasn't really an option. No, like nowhere in a career book was there, oh, YouTube star, cool, I want to try that. That was never an option. So it's so weird. It's hard to relate to a lot of kids these days growing up having these wild ambitions of being a YouTube star, because for us it didn't happen like that. It was more of an accident back when things could like randomly go viral. And I think for me that's where making YouTube videos became like a hobby. And then in school they offered video production. Did you have anything offered like that in your school?
Yeah, we had like video class, media class, I think.
Oh, okay. And they would like give you guys cameras and have you go make videos.
Yeah.
What kind of videos did you guys make?
Oh my God, it was really terrible ones. I think in high school I made like a horror film,
Oh,
and we made a documentary on graffiti in Denmark, which we got an A+ for, so that was pretty
that's
good.
so cool.
But otherwise, I don't really remember. I think in primary school it was just kind of okay. We're gonna go over to the parking lots or the parking garages and just film like down the middle. That looks cool. Okay, that was pretty much it.
That's so cool. So like with skate videos now, what are like some of your favorite videos or parts that you've seen these past couple years? We'll say like from the start of COVID till now, what are some videos that really stuck out to you?
Oh man, that is a tough question because I'm just not as invested anymore. Like I keep
Yeah,
going back to the old stuff. I keep going back to I just had like a Joey Brzezinski spree the other day, watched his Battle
nice.
Commander, some FKD
Yeah.
stuff, the cliche video, but like the more recent stuff, I mean, I'm gravitated towards the companies that still have like full lengths going on. So I do appreciate Primitive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say, the Zero video. We just had Damn It All come
That
out.
was so
That was really good. I mean, everyone just skates so good in that video. And then yeah, we had the newest Zero edition. I can't pronounce his name, but they started filming in HD 4:3. So I think I'm just hyped on Zero. So that's the only things that really stick out to me when I think about it.
yeah, and that primitive video, I think it's called Define.
Yeah, that's the one
Yeah,
I'm thinking
that
of.
video was super good. I think for me, like as I've gotten older, I notice more of the like the production value in the videos because some of my favorite videos growing up were like pretty sweet, fully flared, obviously like Menik Mahdi and those kind of videos, but I don't know, seeing the amount of work they'd put in making videos with like Ty Evans and those guys, just having these skate videos that felt like a movie almost.
Yeah.
I'm really drawn to that, but at the same time, it kind of creates a divide in my head because it's like I see these videos and ideally I'd want to make videos like that, but I know I don't have those cameras. I don't have the level of skateboarding. I have some friends that are really good, but there's no way we can make anything even like that. So that being said, what are some of the videos that you grew up watching that really like motivated you to skate and capture some of your skateboarding?
I mean, I think I was watching all the Zero videos, but more as like what's it called in English? Like a bystander. So
Yeah.
it's more like you see these stuntmen. That's really awesome.
Mhm.
Can I do anything in the realm of that on my level maybe? But otherwise, like people like Chris Haslam, obviously Day One
Yeah.
Song, really loved the Round Three and Cheese and Crackers, even 5 incher. They had some
That
good
was
parts
really
in
good.
those. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I was more inspired to go out and skate like those, but I was really intrigued by the stuff that Zero has always been doing, like the Hish mentality. And that's why
Yeah.
like once a year, maybe once every 2 years, I go out and try something that I would kind of say, all right, as Zero rider would have tried this, but
Yeah.
I'm never there because I've never been talented like that, and I don't I tried to skate an 18 stair last summer, and
18.
yeah, it's a very mellow 18 stair, but either way, like it you gain a lot of speed at the end, and I remember I never really skate rails. I don't even hit flat bars. So why did I have this idea? And the spot was just the worst. And I think I tried it for like 3 hours. Feel so
Wow.
bad for my homie filming, but
Like 50-50 or what?
no, a regular backside board slide. Like that's the only thing I could see myself doing on that. But I only made it down to the bottom once. But I was just so I really wanted to feel that Zero feeling, and just
Yeah.
get that roll away. But I was so beat up in the end. Hello, if you're still watching, I'm left alone here. Parker is picking up a park. No, not a park, a package. In Danish, it's called pakke. I could speak some Danish while we wait. Hvad går I og tænker på? Det er sådan her, vi snakker i Danmark. Parker kommer nok til at redigere det her ud alligevel, men ja, nu er jeg her ligesom bare. Drikker min Pepsi Twist. Den er næsten tom. God Pepsi Twist. Pepsi sponsor me. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
All good, all good.
back to what you were saying. So I've noticed with like your skateboarding, your real life skateboarding, I see that you're really talented at manuals. Would you say that that's your strong suit in skating?
Yeah. I don't know, not that much anymore. I still tinker around with some like weird tricks, some shove it outs and stuff like that. I used to be way better though. I want to get some of my stuff back, but it's just so low impact that if my hot pocket is kind of messing me up, okay, I'll just do the manuals, or my ankle is a bit sore or something like that.
Which foot do you have the hot pocket in? Your left or
That's my right foot. So
right foot?
that's
Okay.
yeah, that's one of the problems. Like I can still nollie heel. I don't feel it on that, but I used to have a pretty good nollie flip and switch flip. I would like to say, but I don't do them that much anymore. And I used to have just no smanny nollie flip out. I used to have them like every try, and I miss them so much. But it's just so tough getting back to.
It's your right foot. You said, is it like in the in the arch of your foot?
No,
Is
no,
that where
it's
you
on
get
it's on top. It's like where the
on the
top
top?
laces are, where the top of the laces. So yeah, right there.
Oh wow!
There's like
How does
a
that happen?
nerve.
I've never had that.
I've gotten hot pockets a lot. Like I used to skate big drops and big stairs when I was younger, and if you just land too much on your toes and your foot kind of tweaks up like that, you can get a
Yeah.
hot pocket. And I used to get that
Ooh,
so much when I was little, but it would be over in like 5 minutes, and then you could skate again. But now it's just I have it constantly. So like if I'm not warmed up and I go down like just a ledge or something, I really got to focus on landing on my heel and not activating that, because then it's just like hard to push after that.
that's insane. Have you found any like physical therapy or any exercises that you can do?
Yeah, it's gotten better since I've done some mobility stuff. But there's really not much more to do other than that. I think my doctor, he said, I could get a surgery to fix it, but I really don't want to. I really don't want to get cut up in the ankle area or knee for that matter. I feel like it normally always gets worse. So I really want to see if it is getting better. I did some switch flips the other day, so and I'm not feeling it now, so I think it's going in the right direction.
That's good. Do you think maybe some of that is from skating more and kind of building up the strength in those areas again?
Absolutely. I think that's a weird thing, because as I've gotten older and I've gotten injured, I've been so cautious of skating. But I had this weird thing with my knee a couple months ago where I couldn't really walk for a while and I was on crutches. But it's been hurting ever since. But when we left on that skate trip with the kids and I was skating 5, 6 hours every day,
Mhm.
it's gotten way better. I barely feel it anymore, and I can actually like lift my heel up to my butt again. Haven't been able
Wow,
to do that for a while.
that's amazing. Gee, well, I'm glad to hear that. I was worried when I saw your video with you. You kind of hobbled up to the camera with crutches and you sat down. I was like, no way, he's hurt. I was like, oh man, he's gonna be out for a while. But that's great. So that was only a few months ago, right? That you had the crutches.
Yeah, I think when I made that video, that was like my first session back, and it went really well. But I went and skated as well the next day, and within like 5 minutes, I just got this like felt like a stab in my knee. So I was like really worried something was seriously up, but I haven't had that since. I had it a few times around that period, but I think everything's kind of twisted back into the place it needed to be at this point.
That's good. Do you ever go see like a chiropractor or anything? Get your back like popped or massages or anything?
Actually, not. My friend is really into that stuff, so he does it every once in a while. I don't feel like it helps me that much, but I don't really have chronic pain in those areas. I feel like it's definitely something that could help in the future, like opening up some areas that you might not be too active in.
Yeah, for sure. And like for me, the last few years I was getting really bad like lower back pain and I went to a chiropractor a few times. I got x-rays done and they found that it was my hips. My hips were off. So like your pelvis, like your midsection, your pelvis typically has like a certain angle. And for some people it'll get like tweaked. I'll kind of try to demonstrate. So like your pelvis. Some people will like tweak it in like that,
Ah,
and they'll get used to that, and they have this bad posture. And other people have the opposite, where they're like arched forward and they kind of stick their back out. But we're supposed to have like kind of a neutral position.
yeah.
And for me, my pelvis was like turned not really forwards or backwards, but they were turned opposite. So
Okay.
my one side was, it was making it so my left leg was pretty much longer than my right leg. And I thought it was a leg thing, but it was my hips the whole time. So I went to this chiropractor and he was able to like lay me down and he'd yank on my legs. I don't know if you've seen people do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It scared the crap out of me the first time. He's like, okay, I'm going to need you to relax. And I was like, okay, I'm just laying there kind of trying to like calm myself. I was like, it's going to be okay. It's not going to hurt. It'll be okay. And he's yanking on my leg and he's like, you got to relax. And I'm like, I'm trying. I'm still yanking on my leg really hard. And the more he yanked, I think the more I was tensing up. So he pats me on the leg. He's like, relax. And I was like, that's not helping at all. And then finally he was able to get a pop. And I instantly felt it like, it was like tingles from my hip up and down my leg. It made me kind of lightheaded getting all that blood to like recirculate, but it made a huge difference. And I found it not only in my hip and my lower back, but my knee too. So I'd recommend it if you get the chance, if there's anywhere near you, to go get kind of just checked out. They lay you down and they kind of look at the position of your bones and everything, and they make adjustments from there. It's kind of weird at first, but I think as we get older, we kind of have to really take our health into consideration, not only just what we eat and exercise, but taking care of the stuff that you can't do yourself. Because I don't think we're capable of making our own bone adjustments to fix ourselves. I think it's really good to like go see a professional. So I'd recommend that if you ever get the opportunity. It is a little expensive here in America. If you don't have like a good job with benefits, you're screwed. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
insane.
can't imagine that. It kind of scares me to think of that sometimes because I feel so privileged. Like, I think normally in Denmark, a chiropractor does cost money, but if there's like a slight issue, the government is going to pay for it.
That's cool. And I'm sure they'd tell you like, okay, we're going to do this and this is covered, but if we have to do this, you're going to have to pay this much. I think as long as they're like straightforward with the cost, it's really not that
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, and they are. It's normally like if you're referred by a doctor to something specialist, it's
Mhm.
gonna take like half the price off or more. And I don't think stuff is that expensive in Denmark. I have gotten some X-rays and stuff. No, wait a minute. That actually turned out to be free either way.
That's really nice though. Was that so does your job provide you with any insurance at all? Does the skate park job?
Yeah, I think they do. I've never really taken advantage of it. I think I've broken both my big toes at work, but
Oh,
I've never called in about that. Just went to the hospital. They say, well, we can't really do much.
because
Okay,
it's your toe. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just gonna sit there. But yeah, I just left work and got checked out, and yeah, I think I still got my salary.
That's why. So how did you break your big toes?
I think both times I've just like landed primo with like the foot underneath.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did something similar to that years ago. I was probably like 19 or 20. I was trying to kickflip a 7-stair. It didn't have much run up, like maybe 10 feet of run up, and the ground was all brick. So we thought it was really cool. It sounded cool, and I was like, oh, I can kickflip it easy. And I tried the first time, kicked away. I was like, okay, try again. And somehow the board landed primo on my big toe. Instantly, like insane amount of pain. I'm just like trying to run to not feel the pain. And that night my toe turned blue. The next couple days it turned black. My whole toe was red, my foot was red, and then eventually my nail just came off. It
I've
was
tried
so
that too. Yeah.
it's so gross. It's insane.
It's funny with the nail falling off thing there. That hasn't happened to me in skateboarding. I think I actually broke it a third time at the skate park, but it got all blue immediately, and then I like pulled on my big toe, and then it went away, and then I was fine. But
That's insane.
yeah, when I was younger at the soccer practice, like one winter, I actually went to the showers afterwards, and oh, I have two black big toes, and I did the same thing as you. Like a week later, maybe I lost my nail
Oh, jeez.
on both feet.
Toes look so weird when the nail's not there.
Yeah, it's just unnatural to look at.
It's so gross. So, hey, what kind of board do you have right now?
Right now, I'm skating a sour solution. So it's actually Barcelona. If it want to, it doesn't.
There it goes. Yeah.
Because we were supposed to go to Barcelona on this skate trip with the kids, but Ryanair canceled like all their Copenhagen Barcelona flights last minute, so
Wow.
we couldn't really book anything new, and then we had to go to the other end of Denmark.
That's cool. Though, what kind of trucks do you have?
Right now I'm riding Royal. It's my first pair ever, but I've skated them for a year, I think.
Wow. Was there any like break-in period for the Royals, or did they just feel good right away?
Yeah, the only problem I have with Royal is that the kingpin's super high up.
Oh,
I do kind of skate tighter trucks, but I still had to like get one of the grinders and had to
yeah,
like. So I don't do many Smith grinds and stuff, but it did really trouble me for a period. But it's good now.
for sure. And that's like most of the ledge tricks I do. I do a lot of like willy grinds, backside and front side, and a lot of Smith grinds. And I have to have the low kingpin. I got some Ace trucks.
Oh.
I really like them. These are like the AF1 or whatever, the new ones that they were all hyped up about. And the kingpin is super low.
Yeah, that looks good.
It's really nice for like Smiths and lazy grinds. What kind of wheels do you have?
These are my first ever pairs of Rictas. I don't know if they're like Tom
Oh wow,
Astor's model or anything, but they've been doing really well so far. I could see myself buying another pair of Rictas.
that's so cool. And I see you do like quite a few reverts. Do you have problems with flat spotting wheels?
Well, not yet, but I've just noticed on one of the wheels that might be heading somewhere, but we'll see.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah, I see some
Maybe it's
little
just a
marks.
skate park.
I have an issue like coning wheels really bad. It's hard to tell, but like,
Oh yeah, I see.
see, this one's very coned.
You never flip your wheels?
I do sometimes. These are still pretty new. I've only had these. They're like orbs. I don't know if you've heard of orbs.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't tried it
Yeah.
or seen them in real life.
I really like them. They're kind of grippy, but depending on the ground, they can be really slippery too. It's very weird. I've never had a wheel that was so different on different ground, but like at really smooth, like barracks type ground, these are almost too slippery, and then on regular concrete, they're almost too grippy. So I don't know. I'm kind of learning to enjoy them. I saw your bearings. Are those Bones Reds bearings?
No, they are Bronsons, I think.
Bronson's, okay. Have you had any problems with those?
No, I've only had good things with Bronson and Spitfire cheap shots. That's like the main bearings I buy.
That's so cool. So, do you guys have small brands in Denmark?
Yeah, we have a very few, but they're not usually around for that long. I mean, we also only have a couple of skate shops in all of Denmark.
Wow.
I'm guessing maybe 10 to 12 skate shops in all of Denmark. We don't even have a skate shop.
Oh, really? You guys just have the park,
Yeah.
and there's no. Oh, do you guys not sell boards?
No, we're not allowed to.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We
Sorry.
our skate park is owned by the city.
Oh, that's interesting. How do you get paid then? Are you paid by the city?
Yeah, I'm paid as like yeah, what's it called? Not a I am paid as a teacher, but no, those that are in the kindergartens, like that's basically my job. Like I'm a youth club adult. I don't know the terms.
Wow. Okay. So you're like a coach. You're the skateboard coach, pretty much.
Yeah, you could say that. I mean, in my city we have the youth school, and then there's a bunch of clubs where the kids can go after school and stuff. And we are technically one of those clubs, but we also accept like new people in to skate, of course. But we're technically a part of that, so I'm paid by the youth school.
When I lived in Taiwan, I taught skateboarding too, and that was going to be like, I don't know, I had like been a formal teacher for a few years. I taught in China, and then I went to Taiwan to kind of do the same thing, but after a while it just got kind of boring. There's not enough freedom. You have these like strict guidelines of things you have to teach the kids, and you have to give them this test, and they have to do good, and you need to do this and that with them and grade all their homework and stuff. It just got to be really boring, and I grew to hate it. So I started offering skate lessons, just myself, working for myself, and I was able to make decent money for a while. And then COVID came along, and none of the parents wanted to let their kids like leave the house or be in public, so I had no option. That's why I ended up leaving Taiwan. Was I ran out of money. I had sold my scooter. Most people over there have like motor scooters instead of cars. I sold that. I sold my guitar, my camera. I had sold like a phone at some point. I sold everything just so I could get a plane ticket to go home, because I was worried that I wouldn't find work again and I'd be stranded in Taiwan. I had friends over there and everything, but I didn't want to come to that point of having to live with a friend just to get by. Sometimes I think about what it would have been like if COVID hadn't have happened, and I would have been able to keep teaching skating, maybe like get in with a skate shop, because there's a couple indoor parks. I often wonder if I could have done something kind of like you do, where I could work at an indoor park and teach kids constantly. But I don't know, at the same time I'm almost glad that my time there was cut short, because now I can look back on it as a fun little memory, back when I was able to skate all the time. Everything I did was skating. I taught skating. I watched skate videos at home. I skated after teaching skating. It gave me like an appreciation for skating, but it was weird making it a job. Almost made me want to skate less. Do you ever feel that way after teaching skating? Do you ever find that you just want to get away from the park and kind of do anything but skating?
I think there's a common problem with being at a skate park as much as I am, that it kind of gets dull. But I think I've been pretty good at balancing it. Like if I know I'm teaching in the evening for 5 or 6 hours, I'm either out skating before that. So once I get to teaching, I'm kind of sore and I don't want to skate myself. So I can like give 20 minutes to each kid if they need that. But otherwise, like it's fine. I think I'm just as hyped seeing them land their first kickflip as I was myself. Probably even more hyped for some of them, because you get those close relations and they're a bunch of really good kids.
I totally agree. I felt the same way. I hated most of my kids. I wasn't there long enough to see them really progress to high levels. I was only with most of the kids I taught for maybe a few months at the longest, and then COVID happened. But I was able to see them get comfortable on the board. We had a handful of skate parks that we could go to in the cities that I lived in Taiwan. And now there's even more skate parks. Literally like months after I left the island, they built 3 or 4 more skate parks, which is insane because Taiwan's not a big place. There's not that many people, but they have so much funding. They were able to build these massive skate parks right after I left, which really bummed me out. But at the same time, I'm really happy that I got to kind of be the introduction for those kids to skateboarding. And I really hope that they're all still skating and as hooked as you and I are, because it really is like, it's unlike any other hobby. It's very consuming. Once the skateboarding bites, you're in it forever. And it's weird too, because at the same time, as hooked as we are, I'm sure you had friends you grew up with that skated for a while and then stopped. Were there any of those friends that stopped where it really kind of like hurt you or bummed you out that they were done skating?
I mean, it's not been too bad, because I had like the number one guy I call my number one friend when it's like we got to get out film for street parts. He took a break for like a year at one point, and I feel like I filled out that void pretty well with like just skating with other people. I don't think I was that worried about it. I was more worried about losing them as a friend, because you know how it is with like skate friends. It's like, well, if you're not skating, then sometimes you lose that friendship. I've done that a couple times, but it's been like a natural fading out friendship process. But getting older, people get kids and house and car and dogs, and then they can't skate as much anymore. But you still try to meet up with them every once in a while, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something I need to work on too, is like, just because someone doesn't skate anymore doesn't mean that I can't hang out with them. Because there's other things we have in common, like people I work with every day. And so I work at a Costco. Do you know what Costco is?
It's like big mall thing.
Yeah, it's like a big warehouse. It's like Walmart, but we sell big amounts of things.
Okay, and Walmart is just like everything.
Yeah, pretty much. Walmart's
Okay.
like everything, and we have less things, but we have a lot of it.
Okay.
But yeah, so where I work, I'm able to talk with those people every day about just random things, and we get along fine. So seeing that, I think I can still maintain these friendships with people that have stopped skating. Because obviously, when we hung out, it wasn't just skateboarding that we connected on, it was other things like music, movies, cars, whatever, stupid stuff. But I really need to learn to maintain friendships that aren't just skating, because as much as we love skating, there's more to life than just skateboarding. So that's something that I really need to kind of think about more often, because it is weird. Like, we have all these skateboarding friends, but then when we're not skating, there's obviously other stuff that goes on, and we can still talk to them. We can still do things. It's a weird thing, because I've had so many friendships that for years, like maybe 10, 15 years, we only talk about skating. We only see each other when we're skating. Literally friends that I've known for maybe 15 years that we've never eaten food together, which is so weird to think about. And in Taiwan, especially when I was over there, a lot of the people I skated with afterwards, they'd like take me back to the skate shop and we'd hang out and watch skate videos, or we'd go eat at a little restaurant and get some noodles or go get some tea somewhere. So I was able to really see the possibilities of these skate friendships becoming more than just skateboarding. I think as I've like grown too, I've found that while I don't have a lot of hobbies, there's a lot of things I'm interested in, and I can include my friends in those too. It doesn't have to always be skating. It's fascinating to me how much of my life I've focused on skateboarding when there's so many other things that I also do and I'm interested in. I just don't bring them up because I feel like my skateboard friends won't care. They're like, I don't care about your new car. I just want to skate.
But that I can tell you, like from what I'm seeing, that's a generational thing, because I've felt exactly the same like most of my life. But when you see the kids I'm teaching now, it's like you'll see them all hang out, and then if it was me, I would be like, okay, I'm skating that and that and that. But they're like, okay, we're out. We're gonna check out some, what's it called in English, like thrift shops.
Yeah, yeah.
Then they're gonna go sit by a lake, or where it's like, oh my god, the sun is out, we're in Denmark. Like if that had been me, I would have been out skateboarding. But okay, then they skate a little later, maybe they don't skate that day. It's very interesting to see that they have so many things going on in their friendships. It's not just skateboarding, at least in my city. I don't think there's anyone that's like 100% skateboarding with all the other guys. Like
Yeah,
it's always more things, and it's fun to see.
that's so true. So speaking of that, are there any like other hobbies that you've taken up, or any things that you're interested in outside of skateboarding and video games?
Man, I don't. I mean, I've drawn for a little bit, but not for a
Yeah.
while. And then, you always say, "Oh, I gotta start doing this one thing." Maybe I really
Mhm.
want to start trying to make some games, but then learning code language and stuff again. But I'd love to one day be able to publish a skateboarding game of my own.
Yeah. Maybe you could start like I know you've probably used some of the different 3D creation software. Maybe you could start by making some maps.
Yeah,
Making
that is true.
That would be a good like stepping stone. I feel like for me, when I'm setting these goals for myself, I have to give myself like little steps along the way. Like I want to get stronger. Obviously, I exercise a lot. So I set these little goals for myself. Like, okay, you're going to work out 5 days this week. So for my health too, I try to eat better. I used to be really bad about eating just like any sweets I could get. Like I'm not fat, obviously, but skateboarding keeps me thin. I just want to be better about my health. So I've stopped eating after 8 p.m. at night. I won't eat anything. And I'm not eating candy every day. I don't drink soda. I don't drink energy drinks, things like that. So it's the little steps, I think. What are some other like little steps you think you could take to making a video game? Besides like making maps, what other stuff do you think you could do?
Work less, I think.
Yeah, so more
That
free time.
yeah, that's been a huge problem lately. Um, but yeah, I got it's because I have so many things I want to do with YouTube. So now I've taken a break because it was a little hard getting back to it after the trip there.
Mm.
But I want to start some new channels where it's not just maybe skate gaming or but then it's like do I even have time for that if I also want to work on this thing and I gotta teach Monday to Friday. I gotta have a shift at the skate park Thursday, Wednesday, maybe sometimes a take shift. So yeah, it's just all crammed in there together. I kind of work YouTube like a normal job, somewhere between 8 or 9 to 5 or 4, and then I got the skate park in the evening at the normally 5 to 9 or 9:30. So there's really not much free time when all of that is up. So I gotta balance that. That's the only thing I think.
That's the hardest thing with like growing up and being an adult is having a job and maintaining your hobbies, your friendships, any like things that you're learning. Like for a while, I was trying to teach myself 3D modeling and I did a little bit, but nothing that I would want to show anyone. Like I did show my roommate and he's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I know deep down it looks like trash. And I'm not gonna show you. I'm not gonna show anyone really. I tried to like make a skate park and it turned out so bad. And that, let alone like how to put it into a game engine so it could actually be played or used. There's so many things. So I think that it really does come down to just like managing your time. For me, I think some things that I've been good about is I find like most productive times of day are either right when I wake up or before bed. Probably like 2 hours when I wake up to the 3 hours before I go to bed. That's when I'm able to get the most stuff done. Are you kind of the same? Are you more productive at night and in the morning or midday?
Definitely more alive in the before bed. It's actually kind of annoying. I can never really get up. Is it Tony Hawk texting you?
Yeah, Tony Hawk. He says, "Are you talking with Jake? Tell him I said hey." So for you, you find nighttime for sure.
Yeah, and that's annoying because I know that if you're looking at screens and like artificial light before bed, it's harder to sleep, and I've been struggling sleeping for like a couple of years at this point. So but that is basically the time where I'm energized, I want to do stuff, and then you go to bed because no, it's stupid. I'll just wake up and I'll do it, and then I just don't have the motivation there. So yeah, I don't know.
I know it's weird to find the balance, but so much of like anything we want to do outside of our normal routine, there's always time. As hard as it is to say, like there's always time. How many hours a night do you sleep?
I mean, I'm trying to get 8 hours, but
Yeah.
probably somewhere between 4 to 6 regularly.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
No, that is, it doesn't feel good.
No, and that seems to be when you're doing most of your like Skater XL and session content is at night.
Yeah, I had a good streak going where I was filming when the Danish sun was out, but now
Yeah.
now we're getting back to that. The hours are changing here, so that's been one of my goals. Right now I got a camera light on, but if I have like both my camera lights on, I get so groggy and headaches. So I want to start filming more in the daytime. But normally I film at night. I could film like maybe 4 videos, and then the next day I could edit before working at the skate park. That was kind of my routine for a while, but I don't really have a routine at this point. just kind of slowly getting back into it.
Yeah. I think it's nice to have a routine too. Like I've pretty well developed a routine with my skateboarding after work and on my weekends and getting my workout in. Most of the time it's in the morning, but lately I've been doing it at night. I'm kind of still trying to fine tune whatever routine and then just sticking to it because like your body, especially if you have trouble waking up in the morning, something that I've done for the last like pretty much a year actually is every morning when I get up, I'll get my coffee, I come outside to this exact spot and I just sit here. Like you can see the sun is shining. It's a pretty lovely day, but just being out here kind of regulates your body clock. Having direct sunlight in the morning regulates your internal clock, so I'm able to wake up pretty consistently. Like I wake up within like a half hour window every day between like 7:45 and 8:15, somewhere in there every day. I wake up and I don't always feel great, but I'm at least up, and if I have things I need to do, I'm certain that I'll be able to get those done before I have to work at 10 or 11 because I've spent this time to regulate my body clock so I'm good every day. Are you able to like get out in the sun when you wake up in the morning, or is it kind of inconvenient?
It's starting to, but my apartment is facing the wrong way in the morning.
Oh no.
So, but still, like once the weather gets better and we don't have to like dress up in huge jackets and stuff, I'm gonna go out in every time I wake up just to get that real sunshine in your face.
It's not. It makes a huge difference, and it'll like brighten your day too. It feels so nice.
Yeah.
Do you drink coffee in the morning?
No,
No. What do
I don't drink coffee.
you drink tea?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. What's like your morning routine when you get up?
Yeah, that's the scary part. Normally I kind of wake up but just by going to my chair here and then I
Yeah.
just sit and start editing. So probably a really unhealthy way to start the day.
It doesn't seem that bad. I mean, I don't know. They say like blue light and everything, but I know that's mainly at night. So maybe in the morning it's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, my eyesight has gotten a lot worse since I started doing all these gaming videos.
Dude, mine too. I think it's partially age too. I know like a lot of people around our age, they start getting glasses. I know you wear glasses sometimes, right?
Yeah, if I mean I'm oh what is it what it's called in English? Like nearsighted? Is that a
Yeah,
word?
yeah, nearsighted.
Okay, yeah, I'm nearsighted, so I'm not supposed to wear them when I'm sitting here editing or filming, and I can't really wear them when I'm skating. I'm just not used to it. But either way, I can see my board, and I'm not really that handicapped. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think
Um,
I'm more nearsighted too for sure. And really, yeah, it doesn't affect skating at all. Most of what we need to see is like 5 feet in front of you, 10 feet in front of you, whatever. Like I think it'd be much harder if you were farsighted skating. You'd look down and your board would be all blurry. You wouldn't know
yeah.
where your feet are.
No, that wouldn't be good. I wear my glasses when I teach because then I can kind of have a good focus on everyone at the park, what they're working on, and like while I'm helping someone, I can kind of see in the corner of the park that okay, I gotta help him with that in a minute. But
Yeah.
when I forget my glasses teaching, that's a bummer sometimes.
Do you typically teach skating one-on-one or is it like with a group?
It is a group thing. It's just me and then two of my colleagues. We're basically the teachers, and then we always warm up with a group activity, and then sometimes we do like a fun little thing in the middle. But otherwise, it's like an open session. So either we'll pick up on someone trying something, or they'll come to us, and then we'll help them. I mostly like doing like the one-on-one stuff. So
Yeah,
I try to like circle around each time we teach.
that's cool. So is it like 5 or 6 kids?
Oh no, we got 3 or 4 classes at the moment. Uh, Two of them are around like 15, 16 kids, and then we have one that's like way more. There's like 28 signed up, but a lot of them don't show up each time. That one is more open, but no, it's a lot of kids at the same time. It's a good thing we're three.
Yeah, for real. That's crazy. I think the most I ever taught at one time was 4 kids. It was these three brothers who were just nutty. They were all over the place, these little kids. They were so good though. They were fearless. I had to really like restrain them from hurting themselves. It was those three and then their friend who was really shy. So meanwhile, these three brothers are off jumping off some big ledge in the corner while their friend is struggling to get on the skateboard. So I was really struggling being one person to do each of them credit because they were insane. I don't know how their parents managed those three boys. They were something else. Do you ever find that you get like frustrated with the kids or anything or
I mean, I've done some private teaching before, just with one person. That seems to go super well.
yeah.
And when we teach at the skate park, I think the kids see it as like, okay, this is the sport our parents are forcing us to go to. So it's not
Mhm.
just come in and like mess around. We're taking it kind of serious, and like we're using our
Piano
teachers
lesson?
to, yeah, exactly. Um, I have taught some another privately owned like skate teaching company here in Denmark. They have like hired me for 2 weeks at a time, and those weeks the children are so much younger and the way more children. There I just kind of like, all right, go crazy. You're supposed to be here. It's like a summer. Send your kids off and get some
Yeah.
spare time. So
Summer
it's just
camp,
like,
yeah.
yeah, go crazy. And then there's like a few of them, actually mostly the girls at that age, that are really like want to listen, and you can teach them
Yes.
stuff. But the boys are just like on their butts going down the eight stair, or I don't I
Yeah,
don't even know,
seriously.
man.
I totally found that too. I had way more success with the girls that I was teaching. I taught like the youngest, she was like 3 years old or something, like 4 years old. She was really young, but she was really good at listening. She'd pretty constantly need to like hold hands or something so she wouldn't fall, but she was really good at listening. I had to teach her completely in Chinese, which was kind of difficult. My Chinese is pretty good, but I don't know. It was nice that she was like a baby pretty much, so I could just use baby Chinese to tell her and she would understand. But I've had way more success with the girls than the boys. The boys, they just get like, they get fixated on something or something makes them laugh and they're just completely gone. You can't get them back. At that point, I would do what you do and just be like, all right, go skate. I'll see you in 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's
It's
so
wild.
funny.
What's been your like biggest success story with the kids? Or like
Oh,
something that
wow.
you were really proud of?
Um, oh, that's a tough one, man. But like all
I
of the
know it's kind of hard to
first
narrow it down.
kickflips,
Oh,
that's always nice. And
yes.
you're not supposed to have favorites, but there is one of the girls who's been skating at the park for like 2 years. She's been very afraid to commit to stuff. It's like, well, you've been able to kickflip for a year now. You just don't like
Haven't
commit
committed.
to it. And
Yeah.
and once she started getting that, and she has it like consistently now. Now she's working on switch flips.
What?
She can do primo varial double flips, and there's just once she got that kickflip, it opened up like way more tricks for her. It was just really nice to. It's been nice to experience, and I see that from some of the other newer girls now. They're also picking up on that. The boys are like they'll come look at what we're doing, and then they're like, okay, we'll try it, and then they'll probably land it pretty quickly. But the girls actually listen and really use those little tips you give them. So it's fun working with children in general.
It is. I really do miss it sometimes. My girlfriend now, she has three kids, and it's just so fun to be around them. Kids are just like they're on another planet pretty much. Like they're in their own world and you're just kind of witnessing it. It's so cool to see things through their eyes, especially skateboarding too. Seeing kids just like have fun at the simple act of being on a skateboard. Whereas sometimes for us, we have a bad skate day. We could be landing a bunch of tricks, but we're not doing this one trick we wanted to do. I can't do hard flips today. That is ruining my day. I'm going to go home angry. But then I see them just having fun, doing whatever, picking up pine cones off the ground. It's like if they can have fun doing that, I can have fun just being on a skateboard, just being at the skate park, talking to my friends. I agree with you a lot on that. Kids are something else. I think being around them more gives you that new view on life. I think we all
Yeah,
need to be more like kids.
That actually is one of the best parts. You're really taken back to, okay, we're just taking this one trick step by step. Oh
Mm.
man, the learning process is fun. Whereas now it's like, okay, I haven't learned a new trick in a while. What can I do? Maybe nollie, varial, heel, body varial. I haven't done that, but it's still
I've
kind
thought
of
about that just
similar.
recently. That's so fun.
But it's still kind of similar to what you can do. It's not the same like huge steps that these kids are going for. Like one of the
Yeah.
girls, she just learned like just a primo flip, just a single one.
Yeah.
But she like I think she hit me up the next day and was like, "Wait a minute, I did my first flip trick." Well, yeah, you did. And then it's like just motivation right there. So those
Yeah.
huge steps, like it's like we could land a nollie varial, heel body varial. Yeah. Can scratch that one off, but it's not like, okay, tomorrow it's down a 3 star, then it's down a 5. But it is kind of given that same thing watching the kids.
Oh yeah. And I found like as I've gotten older and the tricks that I'm trying to do are getting like more complex, I kind of set the little goals for myself. Like maybe I'm trying hard double flip or like I don't know, something I'm really into like double flips recently. I really want to learn more variations. So I'll like just give myself a goal of okay, let's just flip it. I want to flip it 3 times and then I'll try to get 1 foot on. And then I'll try to get my back foot on. Now I'm gonna try to land with both feet on. So I kind of break stuff down step by step, and then I don't know. From there, I kind of set my expectations, so I'm not just hoping that okay, I'm gonna land this new trick today. As much as there's still part of my brain that's like, okay, if you're not landing new things, you're not progressing. It's not about progression. I don't know at what age our mind flips and we're like, okay, now skateboarding's about learning new things and getting really good. That never actually happened. It's just something we put on ourselves. We're like, okay, we have to get good at it, otherwise it's not worth our time. Whereas kids don't think like that. They're just like, this is fun. I did a thing. I pushed. Everything's fun.
Yeah, that is true.
I so miss that mentality. I'm gonna find it again someday. So, have you ever had a massage gun?
Yeah, I have one, use it quite frequently.
Me too. I think I use mine like every day. So, where do you get the most sore?
It is just in like leg cramps. It's not like I have particular spots or anything, but I remember the first time using it. Like I think I used it for like 30 minutes on my legs, just slowly going over every single part, and I felt like a 16-year-old again afterwards.
Yeah. No, I think me too. It's been like, and even the front of my shin. Do you ever do there?
Oh, I go as close as I can, but that part is just so sensitive for me, the shins and like the ankles.
Did your parents like support your skating growing up?
Yeah, fully.
Really?
Like my closest relations have always been very, very supportive. Like I can't complain about anything on that point.
That's really great. So they'd like take you to skate parks, buy you skate gear, things like that.
Yeah, skate gear. Normally, I had a like part-time job from when I was 12, so I had the money to buy that myself, and gave me a pretty good understanding of money and buying things and yeah, taking care of them. But yeah, we would go, I think every Sunday for a very long time. We would drive like at 6 in the morning into like the biggest skate park in Copenhagen, because
Wow.
there would be free parking on Sundays, and I could have the place to myself for like 5 hours. And yeah, I think they lost a lot of sleep over that, going up that early on the weekends, but they did it.
That's so cool. I think that can be like kind of make or break for a lot of kids, whether the parents support it, especially at a young age. Like, I don't know, from when you're a newborn to when you're maybe like 12, 13 years old, your parents kind of control most of what you do, like your hobbies, even like whether you go to school or a good school, whether you're fed or not, your parents kind of control all of it. So, do you think your skateboarding would have gotten to the point that it is today without their support?
No, I don't think so. They just gave me a lot of freedom. Like I could just I had to go to sports like a couple times a week when I was younger. So it started out as football or soccer. for a couple of years, and then that turned too serious. Then I did some volleyball, and while I was doing that, I did karate. But that was just because they wanted me to stay active, I guess. But once they realized that I was so active skating, like they just said, yeah, you can quit all that other stuff, and then yeah, just skate as much as you want.
That's so cool. And yeah, same in the States. I think it's really common for parents to get their kids into like literally every sport until they find something that their kid really likes. I played all the sports. I think growing up, the first sport for most of us is soccer. Is that kind of typical over there too? Soccer is the first sport?
Yeah, soccer or handball, I would say. Those are like the biggest national sports in Denmark. And I think Denmark actually invented handball, so
Yeah,
it's
I was
part
gonna
of
say, what is handball?
it's I mean it's like a small basketball type of game,
Wow.
but it's like soccer goals, small soccer goals. Um but then it's like, yeah, you're allowed to run with the ball a bit more than in basketball. You of course have to dribble, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then it's pretty much the same thing. One team's attacking, and it's kind of like defending, like in soccer. But yeah, in Denmark we're pretty good at that. So a lot of families have pride in handball.
That's so cool. When I didn't get serious into skateboarding until my parents had me in basketball, and I think some of the first shoes I skated in were basketball shoes, and they actually worked really well. Did
Well,
you ever?
like in the S days, you know.
Yeah, seriously, that's kind of, and I didn't make that connection in my brain until I grew up, but I was like, yeah, I guess like Costin and some of these S guys, they were skating in shoes that were basically basketball shoes. Did you ever find yourself skating in random shoes before you had skate shoes?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know about skate companies for a while. Like that was, as I said, I skated by myself like the first 2 years probably.
Mhm.
So I would just be going to like the mall, find like a sports store, and they had like a tiny skating section, and I would just get like the cheapest shoes that, you know, weren't really supporting any pro skaters or throwing money into the skate industry. So I kind of regret that part, but yeah, then I discovered the Zero videos. A lot of those guys were on Fallen, and then I think I only like bought Fallen for a very long time.
Were there any other shoes that you tried that you really liked?
I actually liked the Habitat shoes. I had a pair of
Yeah.
those before they went out of business, and I think Mark Sucha was still on them at that point. But they were really good. But I went back to Fallen again, and then years later, Fallen kind of fell apart. I skated some Servant shoes, a Swedish skate shoe company. I don't think they're around anymore, but they had Mike Vallely, so
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. But otherwise, mostly Fallen. I've tried out the Kais once, S once, Etnies twice, I think, but I always come back to Fallen. And then Kariuma. I've skated one pair of Kariuma.
Did you like them?
They were great for my regular kickflips. I've always had a really bad kickflip because I just learned that one in a terrible foot position, and then I went straight to double flips. So I've never had a good one of those, but with the Kariumas, I could really like throw it up. But I lost my switch flips, and switch flip used to be like my best flat ground flip trick. So yeah, I have like I think I still have like 6 pairs of Kariuma, but I'm not gonna skate them.
Wow, that's cool though. I saw the Cariuma, and at first I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're out of Brazil, right?
Yeah, and it started as like just a fashion brand that wanted to give back to skateboarding. So I thought it was really cool in the beginning. That's why I tried them out, made a review for them. But
Mm.
now I don't really agree with how they're marketing and all that. So yeah, I
I kind
have
of,
I
yeah.
have the Barracks collab shoe, but it's just for display at this point.
Do you have it with you?
Yeah, I got it up here actually.
Did I see it? Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
So yeah, this is.
Oh, okay.
And then on the other side, we got the huge Carioma logo, which a lot of people I know are not too fond of. We got the barracks there
Yeah,
as
I don't.
well.
That's pretty cool, actually. I like that. I don't know if I'd skate white shoes because they'd get dirty so fast, but they look pretty sick.
Yeah, it's funny. They asked me if I wanted a bunch of shoes, and I says, yeah, if you send me the barracks collab as well, I want it in white and black. Then they sent me this one in white, and then they sent me like a casual shoe in all black, which I don't know.
Is it kind of ugly?
Yeah, it's I don't know if you guys had Kawasaki
Yeah,
in
yeah.
America. Yeah, okay. All the girls in like sixth grade had a pair of Kawasaki's, and it looks just like that. It's just completely black. But I didn't know what to do with the shoes, so I actually made it into a game at one of our skate teachings where I made like a little obstacle course and then two teams they should skate up and then they had like 10 seconds to draw on the shoe. So I got two really weird looking shoes now, but I like that more than just having a weird pair of Coriumas.
No, I think you're right. I think that's a good way to kind of salvage the ugly shoe.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
mean, I think
weird.
I got it right here actually.
Oh, let me see that.
So this is just one of them. Oh my god, it's still blurry.
I know mine does that too. Oh, wow.
But yeah, and I think they even painted the sole
Oh,
pink.
jeez.
It's our purple skate team, so it's mostly girls and anything in between other than boys. And yeah, they had a blast with that.
That's so cool. That's a good way to like make use of it. Cause yeah, I don't think you'd skate those, would you?
No, I never would. And I thought about just walking around in them, but I don't think they look that cool.
No, I'm not. I'm not super big on Cariuma's like style and the logo and everything. I'm not a fan. As far as like their like relationship to skateboarding, I think it's cool that they like sponsored Mike Vallely. They sponsor this other guy I know who's friends with people that are local to my area. This guy named Bryant Chapo. I don't know if you've heard of him, like kind of up and coming skater. They've sponsored him and this guy I know in Montana. So I like Cariuma because they're like doing good things with people that aren't necessarily like famous. So it's cool that they're supporting us smaller people. I just think their shoes are really ugly. They're not enough protection for me. And I don't think they'd last. I think I would do like 5 nollie heels, 5 tray flips, and I'd probably have holes all over. I just can't do that.
Yeah, it's probably the shortest lasting shoe I've had in a while, but yeah, as you say, we got to focus on the positive things. They are supporting some skaters, and as far as I've heard from Garrett Jenner, like they support them very well. So I gotta give them props for that. I just maybe don't agree with the marketing or just only getting Instagram and contest skaters. But I think it's gonna get better. But maybe they've already like painted the picture for some people. I don't know if they can win those over.
Yeah, and it too was kind of weird the way they got involved with the barracks. That was kind of strange. Like instantly, the barracks had a giant Cariuma banner. They had like Cariuma logos all over. It was kind of weird. It felt like really fake and like forced. Like if in the middle of this talking, I was just like sponsored by Pepsi, and I just started showing you my Pepsi can or something. That's kind of what it felt like. It didn't seem like genuine.
Yeah,
And then
I get what you see there, but I feel like it's also the same as some of the other stuff they have done, but it might have felt a bit more aggressive in a way. But
yeah,
they have done stuff like that with I can't even name anyone. DC and I think Stereo sponsored the first Battle at the Barracks.
yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, stereo.
but yeah, it just felt a little more pushy this time around.
It did. It was odd, and I don't know. I hope Cariuma can like kind of salvage this, whatever like this messes they've created, because I do think, like you said, I think they're a good company. They didn't set out to be like a core skateboarding brand or anything, because that's not who they are. They're just kind of in skateboarding. Maybe they can kind of do what Nike has done, where Nike is in all these sports. They're mountain biking, skating, running. They have like weightlifting type shoes, etc. They do all these different things, but they're each separated. Maybe Cariuma can do the same, where they have like their skateboarding, their normal wear, and then their fashion stuff. They've kind of been soured a little bit with skateboarding, whereas the only people that really like them are the Garrett Jenners and like Dale Decker and Deshaun Jordan or whoever else they sponsor, all these guys. I think those are the main people that really like them and push them. And then the people like us, it just kind of feels wrong.
I
There's so
think I think it's more for me personally with Fallen. I know especially now they're like a small core skate shoe brand. So I
Mm.
do feel like my money is going to a better place rather than something that used to be like only fashion, and that is just not a world I'm connected to. I think that's where a lot of people have felt the disconnect, that, as you say, it's not just like they try to make it like we have a skate department and then we have this other thing, but I think a lot of people just feel like it's connected. And I think Gifted Hater actually said it pretty good. Right now, they're selling skate shoes to people kind of want the skater look and not actually skate. Of
Mm.
course, there are still some, and I've seen some of the kids, actually only one of the kids here, buy a pair of Karyumas, but they have inspired some to skate more at least.
Yeah, I agree. And it's kind of weird what you said there, in that they're kind of giving the image of skateboarding without actually skateboarding. I think Thrasher kind of fell into that category too, where like anywhere you go in the world, you can see someone with a Thrasher sweater or something. Like, I know back in the day, you'd see like Spitfire, like this logo was really common for a while. I actually
Yeah.
got this in Hong Kong. That's why I've kept this sweater for so long. It was the
Oh,
only thing I bought
nice.
in Hong Kong. But yeah, it's weird, and I think as much as it's weird when people kind of wear the skateboarding stuff and they don't skate, as odd as it is, it's also good because they're in a sense putting money into our industry. They're supporting us without even realizing it. And they probably don't care, but I don't know. I guess wherever people's attention is, that's where their money's going to go. And for us, it means more skate shoes are going to get created. It means there's going to be more cool designs, things like that. So I kind of welcome it. If people want to pretend to be a skateboarder or steal our fashion, like a lot of the rappers did back in the day, like Kanye West wearing skate shoes and things like that, really that's just going to support us and make our industry stronger.
Yeah, that's true. I'm fully down with that, especially the whole Thrasher thing. I know a lot of people was like going around to people, what's your favorite cover? What?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, what's your favorite cover of Thrasher? I don't know. I'm just wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
But again, like the money is going to Thrasher. I think I don't think like actual skaters felt like, oh, Thrasher, you're selling out at this point, because Phelps was still out there saying like Rihanna and Justin Bieber were cooks. So I think they still kept their value there. I think I've heard more people criticize them now for being on Twitch and stuff and live streaming, like playing video games, but I think they're just keeping up like everyone else.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. So, but beyond the like skate industry, I know you kind of enjoy some metal music, right?
Most of the metal music I've enjoyed a lot. It's always been connected to skateboarding in some way. So I think Ryan Smith's part in Dying to Live, I think that's like that's a song I normally wouldn't listen to, but I've listened to it a lot apart from watching the part, simply because it kind of reminded me of something I enjoyed.
Skateboarding seems like such a niche thing, but really it's connected to so many other things. Like, it's connected to fashion, it's connected to other sport, it's big in music, obviously. A lot of rappers and other artists try to kind of imitate skateboarding style because it just looks cool. And I think in essence, that is just the kind of the attitude that we don't care what people think. Because with skateboarding, if I wanted to like care how each of my tricks look, how everyone at the skate park felt about my tricks and what I was doing, it would be mentally exhausting to like think about that. So the only way to really succeed in skateboarding is to just do what you do and not care. And it's hard to kind of get to that point. Was there ever a time in your skateboarding or even YouTube where you found yourself more concerned with how people felt about what you were doing than you actually doing it?
It's probably the worst right now, but
Yeah.
growing up skateboarding, it was kind of like not cool in Denmark, at least where I was. So that was also kind of weird. I tried to like not tell people that I was going home to skate, and if I was skating in my hometown outside of my home, it would be like maybe at the school at like an early weekend or something like that. But nowadays I worry way too much what people think about me. That's something I'm really trying to change, but it's just that's both my parents are like huge overthinkers, so I think I've gotten all of that in me, and it's just like, yeah, I've gotten better at getting like a bunch of really nice comments and then one bad one, and that kind of gets me in a bad zone. But I've been better at shoving that away. Like I recently had like a TikTok I watched where it was like my gameplay showed, and I watched the
Saw that.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've taken the video down, and I don't want to like talk too much about the whole fact, but
Yeah,
I was just scrolling through the comments on that, and it was just hundreds of negative comments, and in the end I just had to like turn it off. And it was like the first day of the skate trip with the kids, so I was just not mentally
uh,
prepared for that. But that's something like, come on, it's the internet. I mean, people are gonna hate either way. Like I just gotta focus on doing my thing, and I know a lot of people support me, so I don't know why I keep like throwing that away.
no, I know what you mean. It's hard. Like people were kind of like they couldn't care either way. The fact that I skateboarded, but then within skateboarding, this like industry and this sport that I identified with, I would get hate from other local skaters. This one guy especially, his name was Jeremy. He used to hate on my skating a lot. He'd say like I had terrible style, had no pop, and he would say things like the trick would look better if you just didn't land it. Things like that, saying that like even when I do things that looks terrible. We ended up like kind of becoming friends later on, but he was always a total jerk. I'd even like go so far as to bring him on skate trips, even though none of us really liked him. I just hoped that if he came along and hung out with us, he'd stop being a butthole. He never did. He was just kind of a jerk. So kind of through him being mean, I learned like it doesn't matter. It's like Jeff Deschesare. He gets a lot of hate for, oh, he has no style, he has no pop, whatever. But I love his skating. I think his skating is so sick. Literally, he's probably done more NBDs than since Rodney Mullen. That's a big statement, but it's probably true. I think he has done more tricks that have never been done before than anyone else. Rodney Mullen hasn't beat most likely, but maybe Chris Haslam too. But Jeff would be third place most NBDs, and I
And then
respect.
just on another level than those guys,
Yeah,
because he's like triple flipping 13 stairs for fun.
seriously. And like even if the battle takes him like 2 hours, 3 hours, or days, he sticks it out, he does it. And the kind of skateboarding that he does is on a different level. Jumping down stuff like that, that's exhausting. Even thinking about that kind of stuff makes my body start hurting, and I just want to go lay down and curl up. It's insane. I have so much respect for that guy.
Yeah.
But it's so easy for us, like within skateboarding, where we see all these like, this guy's got a cool style, this guy dresses really cool. Dylan Jeb, or Jabe, however you say it, that dude has like the best style I've ever seen. I love watching him skate. So seeing all these people that are just like masters of the craft, and then them getting force fed to us through YouTube, Instagram, and all this stuff, it makes us compare ourselves in a way that can get us down. But I try to look at it more as the fact that people are saying anything about my skateboarding at all means that I've had some sort of impact on them. So I think even for you, like people leaving these stupid hate comments and things, I think people are more likely to tell you about a negative experience they had than a good one. That's why me, especially when I watch YouTube videos, your channel, Milky, JL, a lot of these other channels that are like similar size to your guys', I always leave comments and like, and I don't share very often, but I always try to do these things because I know it goes a long way within the algorithm. And I think it kind of sets a standard. Like, oh, I see there's been a lot of positive comments on Jake's last video. I'm going to leave another positive comment. Whereas when people hear this hate, it kind of turns their mind into hating mode. I don't know if you've ever been around someone that's like a very negative person, but it can kind of lead you to start to think the same way. So I've kind of taken it upon myself to not respond to any hate that I receive. People that saying a trick looked ugly, or like I get negative comments on my videos. Like there was one, I did a back nose grind, back 180, but I didn't grind it very long. I literally just like bonked the end of it. And this guy was like, you didn't even grind for 1 second. And like my initial thought was, screw you, you probably can't even do the trick. And I went and looked at his channel, and it was him like learning kickflips and doing pop shove-its and stuff. And as much as I could have been, hey dude, that kickflip was awful, I didn't. I went onto his videos and I go, hey dude, you're doing great. Like that pop shove it looked really good. Just to like show him, because I feel like that leaves way more of an effect than if I were to feed into his negativity. And And me, like working where I work at Costco, we deal with some like really rude people sometimes. Do you run into rude people at your job at all or in your everyday life?
Not that often. I think we've had one like crazy mom at the skate park once. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. How did you guys handle that?
I was so like I didn't understand what was going on in the moment. So I think I should have said a bunch of things that you always think about afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was basically her kid had a bike and it got scratched or one of the bolts came loose because of an impact with the scooter rider. And I mean everyone knows there that it's on your own like responsibility to enter the skate park. It's like
Yeah.
your gear, you can run into someone and stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Um, but she was like, we owed them a new bike because now he couldn't bike to school. And I was like, well, he should probably have like a trick bike that can get messed up and then like a riding bike. Or but she wanted us to pay for that, and I said I simply can't do that. The sign right there says on your own responsibility. Well, then I can just go in there and break a bunch of skateboards. What? Break
Really?
break our rental skateboards? Yeah, I can just do that. It was an accident. No, they're not call the police. Probably. I mean, we
Yeah,
know a pretty
seriously.
good skater, police skater here. So, but she
That's
was she was just mental, man. She wanted to sue us and everything, and we're a youth club. Like, come on.
that's ridiculous. It's weird, like as much as like when I run into rude people and stuff, I find that initially part of my brain wants to attack them and be like, "You're the stupid one. You shouldn't have come in here expecting us to do all this for you and stuff." But anymore, I think to what really shows people is reacting not in like a positive way, but either reacting kind of neutral, like, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way," or I hope next time is better. Coming back at them neutral or positive really shows them like, oh, I overreacted. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And it's
Yeah.
something that I think I've learned through a lot of retail jobs, like working in stores and stuff. That's really taught me a lot at how to handle people being mean. So years ago, I worked at a prison, which was a very odd job. Yeah, I don't really look like someone that would work in a prison, but I worked in a prison for a while. It was weird. And some of you can imagine some of the crazy things that people say in prison, like threatening to kill you and things like that. I'm going to kill your mom. I know where you live. And at first I didn't know how to react to those kind of things, but working there kind of taught me how to react when people say awful things. The things that they say in prison are way worse than anything anyone in the real world can say to me. So I think I'm kind of lucky having experienced that, where now I don't find that people's opinions on me really affect how I feel. I have my own opinions of myself, and if someone else feels different, then that's okay. Maybe they're kind of right. What are some things that you hear people say that kind of affect you, and things that you hear that you just brush off?
Oh man, I really don't know that. I brush off like whenever I do a Skater Excel video, there's gonna be session haters, and when I do a session video, there's going to be, the opposite. So I kind of brush that off pretty easily. It's never really to do with me, but when they're attacking like your trick selection and stuff, it's like, come on.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
not
come
that
on.
important. We're playing a video game. Are you saying you're gonna warm up in a video game? I kind of do. Like I
Yeah.
gotta learn the distance of popping in again. There's no grind alignment. It's not Skate 3 easy mode here. But
Sure.
yeah, people can just disagree with some of the choices you make as a YouTuber, which is yeah, I should just be brushing that off. But then the next video, you kind of try to think about what they said and stuff, and I probably shouldn't give it that much attention.
But I think at the same time, part of you wants to keep getting better at the videos just as you get better at skateboarding. Maybe they said, oh, these tricks were dumb. And in your mind, like, oh, well, those tricks are cool. Like, I've seen those tricks done. And it looks really cool when you do it this way. But then at the same time, you're like, okay, maybe I do too much of that trick. I should try something else. So I think from you, it's not like care too much about it. I think it's just that you're a very nice person and you want to like make the video enjoyable for everyone. But really, that's kind of impossible. Everyone has different things they like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I could change one video up because of a comment, but then it's gonna change the opinion of someone who enjoyed that other one. And
exactly.
I constantly do that, and I gotta stop doing that. I gotta sit down and just play the game the way I want. And if people want to join along, then then go ahead and do that.
Yeah, because it's like what got people to your channel in the first place. Like, I remember watching you play Skate 3 and Session, and you weren't really thinking about the tricks that much. You were just kind of playing and talking through what was going on. And I remember just enjoying that because it felt like sitting with a friend playing a video game. You've said before where it just feels like hanging out with someone through a screen, through a camera, whatever. And I think that's really what brought people to your channel, and that's why most of us have stayed subscribed to you, watching your videos. Even though YouTube is kind of like, it's gotten a lot more tricky now with some of the rules they've made and the different copyright things and everything. It's becoming really hard, but I think for people like you that have built up such a long-standing audience where it's been like a consistent, I don't know, probably from when you were 20,000 subs till now, I think you have a pretty consistent set of viewers that watch you, and we really just like seeing you have fun. It doesn't matter what tricks you're doing or anything. It's just watching you have fun, listening to you talk about tricks and stuff. That's what makes us like it. And I feel like that is when we see the real Jake, where you're just being you, you're just playing a game, doing tricks you like. Same with skateboarding. Like, there's so many things. Like, I know I'm bad at back tails, I'm bad at hard flips, things like that. And as much as I could like take a lot of time out of my day to learn those, and maybe I'll get them eventually, but it's never going to feel the same as me just doing a front tail that I'm good at. Or I'm not good at back smiths, but I can do backside lazy grinds. And I not only feel better doing backside lazy grinds, but it looks a lot better than me trying to do these things that I'm not good at. Not that we shouldn't try to learn new things in skateboarding and outside, but kind of finding what you're good at and using that as your strength. Like, what do you find is your strength within making YouTube videos?
I think I've just been doing it for a while, so the whole process of editing and exporting, uploading, all that isn't too much of a hassle. Thumbnail is still kind of tricky, especially now with how much YouTube is changing. You never really know what the algorithm wants to see there, but I think I'm in a pretty good place right now. I got a bunch of stuff set up in OBS that makes it easier for me as well to make the videos, and I got like 2 webcams, so yeah, I think it's pretty smooth sailing at the moment. I just gotta enjoy it a bit more. I've gotten a bit away from that lately, but I'm coming back to it, I feel like.
I think that's kind of like with life too. Maybe right now your life isn't perfect. There's things you want to work on, but at the same time, like, you're alive. You're able to skateboard. You can play video games. Your bills are paid. When it comes down to it, you're doing good.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to tell ourselves that sometimes because we always want to be doing better, picking up new hobbies, making more money, buying this or that, learning this. But really, we don't need to. We can just kind of be happy. Not that we have to be complacent and not want to improve, but just being happy with who you are and where you are can really make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of coming to that place now that I'm in my 30s. I thought 30 was going to be like this crazy thing, but really it's not. It's just another day, another year. I'm just trying to focus on the people close to me, keeping consistent with my skateboarding, having fun with YouTube and Instagram, making more friends, kind of like living more life, not being so consumed with all these things that I can't change. Your uncle was how you got the name Night Speeds, because he was Light Speeds, correct?
Yeah, that is true.
Is he was an artist?
Yeah, I mean, just a free time artist, but this stuff he was making was amazing. Like, he's done some crazy paintings and drawings. Like, the detail he could do was, I wasn't even that much into drawing, but every Wednesday, I was staying over there and I would draw with him, and he would kind of try to teach me stuff, but it was mostly because I looked up to him. And I think that's why I got the name Night Speeds there when I was on posting my own drawings as a kid, but they were terrible though. They were nothing compared to him and his buddy Dark Speeds.
That's so cool. So Light Speeds, Dark Speeds, and Night Speeds.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
Like, he were really into the Sonic franchise, and I was as well. So it's gonna seem like a furry drawing, but he actually drew himself, Dark Speeds, and me as like a little Sonic gang, where we were all like one of these hedgehog or fox kind of things. But I think that is around somewhere online.
That's so cool. If you find that or any of his art, send it to me and I'll throw it in the video. That would be interesting.
All right.
But yeah, I think I've covered pretty much all the questions I had. Did you have any like final questions or anything you wanted to say before we end it? This has been 2.5 hours of your life.
Is this what it's like to be in the 9 Club? I'm wondering.
I know, yeah, it probably is. It's going to be crazy editing this down a little bit. I'll probably keep most of it, just maybe cut some of my rambles down. I can't imagine how Raj edits all that. He's a strong man.
I think they got a pretty good setup as well, as far as I've heard. They do go on some pee breaks and stuff, and does things while it's happening a lot.
Yeah,
But still, that's a very, very long video if you gotta like proof watch anything.
Yeah, seriously. I'm glad none of us have said anything crazy. I'm not gonna have to edit out anything that we said really, so we should be easy. But yeah, did you have any final remarks or questions?
I just want to say like thanks for reaching out and asking to do this. It's always fun to talk to the community, and if anyone has watched this all the way through, then thank you for doing that. And I hope you enjoyed our little talking here and just appreciate skating as much as we do.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. If anyone made it to the end, that's incredible. You're stronger than most people. Definitely go check out Jake's channels. He's got a channel where he does skateboard video games, Skater XL sessions, some Skate 3 sometimes. Maybe we'll see some other types of games in the future. We don't know what he's got planned. And then he has his real skateboarding channel, which he's been uploading on now that he's not as injured and feeling like a 16-year-old again. Yeah, I'm excited to see more of your skate videos. And yeah, thanks for chatting with me. I hope you have a good, productive night and get some sleep.
Thanks, man, and right back at you.
Thanks, Jake. All right, talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.